could you just tell us a little bit about your podcast, which is called Quality of Mind, and then perhaps start to tell us what quality of mind is, just a bit of an intro to that.
Yeah. So Quality of Mind, the podcast has been going, I think you said 5 years, so maybe it has. And really, I find it easier to talk about this than write about it. The podcast is really to help people get curious as to something they may have slightly started to realize. And there's different types of episodes where some are more in depth and some aren't. But it's just really to help people get curious about what's available. And Quality of Mind itself, it's a wrapper. It's a name, it's a word, but it's trying to point to something and distinguish that from other things that might sound like it, but of course words aren't very good at that. But what Quality of Mind is, it's a way of understanding human potential. And when I say potential, I mean our ability to have performance, peace, connection, resilience, creativity, love, all the things we want in life and work, but particularly in work. It's a different way of looking at that than we've probably been conditioned. So it's what I call a before psychology approach, which is, again, a made-up word. But it's saying, rather than try and, which I used to do in my coaching, give people lots of tools and techniques and psychological strategies to make them think better or behave better or understand their self better. It's seeing what we are before our psychology starts cooking up how the world looks, or our psychology starts cooking up and solidifying what we think we are as a person. Because there's loads and loads of stuff out there that will try and change either our thinking or our view of how I am in the world, or our behaviors, or get up at 5 a.m. and do yoga, or think like this, or be more authentic, or there's loads of things doing that. And I used to do some of that. And it sort of works, I would say. But once I discovered that there was something, a leverage point that sits above that, if we go to first principles, there's something that sits above that, which isn't trying to move around the furniture in the cage. It's starting to see what the cage is made of, which comes down to this, at a one level, very simple, doesn't mean easy, but very simple, seeing the self is not an entity. The me that I think I was told I was when I was 1 or 2 years old, that therefore needs to go into the world and have better things happen to it or have better thinking, that's its job. It's not, because the self itself is a piece of psychology. The self is a thought, a very consistent, persistent one, but it is made of the same stuff that the stuff we're asking the self to sort out. It's made of a mirage, just like everything else is. And once people recognize that at a realized level, not just intellectual, at a direct level, which is, again, not that difficult once we know how to look, it seems to open up, oh my word, so much freedom, psychological freedom, capacity for inspiration, ability to be in flow with life, whatever that means, however it is turning up. More serendipity and synchronicity seems to happen, and the striving drops away and more thriving seems to come in. So all the things that we were after with our 5 a.m. club, that we were rowing to try and get psychologically, if I use a metaphor, just seem to come in a sailing way. And there's more presence and peace in life for less effort. Now that sounds almost too good to be true, and quite hard to imagine if you're stuck in the strive, in the rat race, in the self. But once realized, that starts to come on board. So I'm not sure if I've done a very good thing of answering your question, but please pick away at any of that or probe into what you want to probe into. And
no, I think that was great.